I know cash flow is tight for a lot of households at the moment, so I thought it'd be useful to share a personal finance budgeting technique that I use in my life that I find really useful, and you might get some value from as well. And I'll share the template as well. It's based on the Barefoot Investor's best-selling book, and it's a really simple buckets or envelope strategy to make sure you're setting aside funds for the things in your life that you need to. So I'll now share my screen and let's dive into it. This first option is really simple. You keep the majority of your funds in your main savings account or your main transaction account that you get most of your money put into, and you open up a separate one or a savings account, and you transfer every time you receive your paycheck or you receive payroll from your business, you put 40% of those funds into a separate savings account, and that goes towards those other crucial things in your life. So a lot of people may have an offset account that they use for these things, and they just dump all of that. If they've got a home loan, they'll put it all in there. But essentially, you just want to quarantine a percentage of your income that you get into a separate bank account. So it's not all sitting around in one bank account and you have this feeling of wealth and that you want to spend it. So that's the really simple option. The slightly more complex option is what is outlined in the Barefoot's book. And what he suggests, and this is the system that I use myself, is basically breaking it up into a few different bank accounts. So say you get 40 grand a month into your bank account or a wage, or let's make it a little bit more realistic for the average punter. Let's say you're getting maybe 10 grand a month for a paycheck, right? So let's put 10 grand there, and you'll see that you keep, so the main transaction account here is the same bank account right here. So there's no transfer needed. The 60% is just what's left over in this bank account after you've made all the other transfers. So 60% will sit there for your day-to-day stuff. The second account is like your splurge or your coffee account or you're going out for lunch account. You put 10% of what comes in into that one. And that's a really fun one for your day-to-day. And you feel not as guilty spending it because you know that's what it's for. The next account he suggests is a smile or long-term. Quite often, I think in the book, he suggests like long-term holidays, things like that. 10% goes towards that, and you see that build up over time. And then the final 20% of the 60-40, so 60%, as you can see, is the day-to-day, and then the other 40% is just broken up like this. The other final 20% can go towards saving for a house, paying off your mortgage, those kind of things like that. I think banks recommend that you don't spend over 30% of your after-tax wage on your mortgage, but that is getting obviously impossible in this high interest rate environments. Households are having to adjust. So that 20% might actually have to go up to 30, 35, 40% of whatever you're getting. And you might need to readjust those percentages. So if you need to readjust the percentages, just enter them in here and make sure it all adds up to 100% there. I've actually kept a separate tab here that explains the actual Barefoot methodology behind it. Keep in mind, I don't own this IP. This is literally a template I did for myself so I can follow it myself. But it explains how to break down. You can see the different percentages that they break it down. And it's a kind of a similar idea as what I've just shown you in that allocation template. But you can see you enter your take-home income there, and then it breaks it out into even more detail here to give you a rough budget of spending 30% of that 60% on rent. So it breaks down that 60% that you keep in your main account as to what, a rough idea of maybe what you should be spending on the key areas of your life. And then again, splurge, smile, fire extinguisher or savings. So same idea, but just it's got a little bit more of the Barefoot terminology in there. But I would suggest to get started, if you're not separating it out into a separate one, just do that. But I get a lot of value from this second one for the personal finance side of things. And I find it really useful to help me with budgeting and things like that. If you haven't seen the other video on like the business buckets, go check that out. That's a little bit more business focused. It talks about having funds set aside to pay your business activity statement and making sure you meet your government tax debts. That's a separate kind of focus on business. This is more just the personal finance related one, and I thought you might get some use. And get in touch if you want the template. I can share this template to whoever needs it. Just drop me a line and I'm more than happy to share. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.